Why is a scene faster? As there's a tree and another one with more trees. What makes me put a tree in the back where its branches aren't visible? This small tree isn't a big deal. The big tree causes issues. So I removed a few trees. And here there are a lot of trees hiding. And here are two small trees. I can remove them. Let's test the scene with a small render. The more leaves there are, the longer the render time will be. The car moves. It's a bit dark, but that's because of the viewport. The render makes a difference. So let's say, yeah, show me faster, like this. Here are two small trees that aren't necessary at all. I can remove them, and that will speed up the scene, right? Let's test the scene with a small render. I said it doesn't affect much, but of course the more leaves there are, the longer the render time will be. So, let's take a look at this scene. After removing items, let's see the result. Two trees and the car move like this. It's dark due to the viewport. It makes a difference, so let's say, show me faster, just like that. This shot prepares me with calculations. Last time, there were two trees, and here's part of one. I could shorten. This shot prepares me with simple calculations. Previously, there were two trees on the ground, now just part of one. This small tree isn't showing much. I could shorten it and see if it looks good. More trees cut means less render time. The first operation has a problem with this tree. I'll shorten its height in the modifier to benefit from it. Its density should be 1. It's not a small tree like any other. Rendered with F9, there are other things in the scene. This one won't show up. It will. It doesn't take time. It's almost done before reflections. While working on the scene, it's in framework 74 from camera 1. I think the first operation is that I have a Syrian at this tree. I have figured it out, but I want this tree. This tree in its mode, its length will be shortened so that I can benefit from it and see it, and its density. It will be 1, and I will see how we can make it. No, by the negative at all. So, what does traveling mean? It's not just a small tree, right? And I don't want that small tree in a scene like this. Rendered with F9. But of course there are other things in the scene. This one won't show up. It will show up. So, it doesn't take time. It's almost done before the reflections and everything else. So, while it's working on the scene, of course, it's in framework 74 from camera 1. We leave with Bob Svinin from Kumana, Wayne. Rendering ratios are visible on the screen. It's rendering reflections, and the light is problematic. The hands are visible, and everything is set up nicely. When will it look good? During the prayer break, we'll set up our scene. These 100 frames will complete while we pray Maghrib. We'll watch a nice scene afterward. We learned many things not mentioned in any animation course before due to time limits. I changed the training approach to offer better content, different from existing channel videos, to avoid repetition. So, when will it look good? During the prayer break, we'll set up our scene and get everything ready. It will finish while we're praying Maghrib. We'll watch a nice scene after. We learned things not mentioned in any animation course before. I changed the training approach to offer better content, different from existing channel videos. Now, I have the trees. When I create and go to AEC Extended, I'll choose a tree. This tree is beautiful, and I'll place it here. I used to explain how to move along a path. I changed the training approach to offer better content, different from existing channel videos. I go to AEC Extended, get me the trees, and place a beautiful leafy tree here. The tree is large, with leaves above the ground. The reflections we learned are perfect. I go to AEC Extended and say, get me the trees, and I choose a tree from below. This tree is beautiful, and I'll place it here. It's a leafy tree, and if everything is fine, it's a big tree doing its job. But is it disappearing under the leaves? Did that happen? Yes, it did. It looks nice, but the tree is really big, and its leaves are sticking up above the ground, above the scene, like a giant tree. And the reflections we learned about yesterday are working perfectly. Of course, you'll notice that the white lines are raised above the black ground, and the black ground is raised above the greenery. And the wheel is raised above all of them. I'm just trying to show you something because we're explaining and teaching. So this element is present in our scene, but it doesn't affect the strength of the scene. But it doesn't look good. I mean, put another tree. Let's select it, and this is holding the tree. I shouldn't keep clicking. Every time I click, it will place another tree for me. So this tree was blue, right? And when you decide over there, it will also look blue in the final scene. This small tree doesn't add to the look at all, and that big tree gives the scene its shape. These are plants on the ground. You can make many. Grow one. I could make this one bigger in its modifier, stretch it out, hold the third one, and there should be gaps between them. But it's better to keep them apart, best if spaced out, so they look nice in a scene like this, with the car in the final shot. This small tree doesn't add to the look, and it's the big tree that gives the scene its shape. These are plants on the ground. You can make a lot of them, and grow one. I could make this one bigger in its modifier, stretch it out, and hold this one too. I'll stretch it out, and hold this third one as well, and there should be some gaps between them. But it's better to keep them apart. It's best if they stay spaced out, so they look nice in a scene like this, with the car in the final shot. It gives you a better look than just that big tree. Look at the two new trees, with the plants on the road. All of this makes a difference for you. You should have learned by now how to place a sphere or a box or something inside the car, or something inside. And hold this one too. I'll stretch it out. And hold this third one as well. And there should be some gaps between them. But it's better to keep them apart. I mean, it's best if they stay spaced out, so they look nice in a scene like this with the car in the final shot. It gives you a better look than that big tree. Look at the two new trees with the plants on the road. All of this really makes a difference for you. You should have learned by now how to place a sphere or a box or something inside the car. This is very important. I mean, you can place this. There's no problem with that. Just make sure to do all this without blocking the car. Fill it with goods. Fill it up and put everything in it. And everything will go smoothly for us. Everything will be fine. Of course, this is an exercise we did together. A car moving in a city. And the city has construction. And really beautiful things. So we focused on the look of the scene, the frames, the contrasts, and so on. And I don't want to put pressure, so I'll take a copy of this scene. With that, I've saved my work. And I'll name it number 2. I'll name it 2. And I'll take save as for version 3. I will take a copy called 3 and put the lighting in it. The lighting really tires me out, honestly. The lighting is exhausting and messes everything up for me. Now let's go to the Create tab and add a light. I'll start by placing a standard light. I'll put some lighting inside the car. I'm telling you, things get messed up for me. And wait. I still need the box. I want to get the box before I place the lights. Come on. I mean, I want a box, but it's the one that I have with me. So I choose the selection like this. Okay, the box is what I have with me. Every piece will be given the box. The box is what I have. Okay, I want to put a light inside it, so that it can fill the piece from within. It will oppress me. The world will oppress it. If I keep it shaded, I mean, it's free, and I have auto grid on, and I'm placing a light inside its ground in this corner. Here, one here, another one here, a third one here, and a fourth one here. Then I'll see if the scene will light up for me, or if I'm just imagining it. Render with F10 to control the camera. F10 lets me choose where I'm rendering from. Where am I going to render from? From the camera? Look at the overall look in the camera. The scene should light up, like you see it now, and start rendering. But that's not good. So, what should you do? Well, remember what we talked about yesterday. I'm sorry. What we talked about yesterday was